Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge, and I forgot to do a Tuesday news video this week, so we're just covering both of the streams today. So we have a lot to get through, so let's get right into it. We have the Charmout stuff, we have the Celestial stuff, we have the Elk stuff, and a bunch of cards of the day, with actually some decently relevant cards in there that I want to talk about. Well, at least one decently relevant card in there. So let's get into it. So let's start out with the stream that showed off the Sienna and not Sienna, the the uh the Charmout and the Elistral stuff. Alright, so first up we have the new dress up for Charmout. It is a once per turn, count last one. You choose the same number of grade 2 or lower lever sewers in name from your soul or your drop as your opponent's Vanguard's grade. Call them onto rear guard circles, and during this turn, this unit gets power plus 5k. So original Charmout was called 2 from soul. So 1, this can call 3. 2, this makes soul management a billion times easier because you can just call them from drop, which is super, super good. That's super fantastic. That on its own is a massive upgrade, way more of an upgrade than the other dress ups have been. Its second effect is during the attack where this unit wasn't boosted, you choose up to 3 grade 2 or lower lever sewers with different names, and during this turn you make their power the same as Charmouts, and if this unit's power is 33k or greater, and your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or above, you can Soul Blast 2, give the center back row the ability to attack and drive checks, and then, this is the bonus part for the dress up, if you Persona Road this turn, in addition, cost discard 1 to give it drive plus 1. So you get 4 drive checks, which is really good. Really good stuff. There's a decent argument to running the old Charmout in the ride deck, just so that you have more Persona Ride copies, because like getting that Persona Ride effect is super, super strong, and you're not going to feel the difference between these two forms on that first ride most of the time. Like if you go second, you'll get one less call, but that's about it. The cards are going to be in your soul anyways. At that point, like there's not much of a difference between them, and you really feel the difference when you on your second grade 3 turn / once you've Persona Road. But this is a very good dress up, much better than the other ones that we've gotten. Then we have a triple rare support card. This is Ro Clark. So in Soul, if your unit gets put from Soul onto Rearguard Circle by the effect of your grade 3 or greater level source, so you do need to like call at least one of them out of your Soul for this to trigger. You count mass 1, call this card onto Rearguard, and then you choose your Vanguard, and during this turn it gets power plus 5k. So that's another way of getting a buff onto your Vanguard Circle while getting bodies onto the board, which is pretty nice. And then at the end of the battle of this unit, is it is that it? Is it when it boosts? It's a grade 2 though. Doesn't sound right. Let me double check another translation real quick. Should be, well, it makes sense when it's boosted, right? Yeah, when it's boosted by Leversaurus. So you would put it in the column with the grade 1 or grade 0, boost it for big power, and then at the end of that battle, you can Energy Blast 3 and throw it into Soul to draw a card, which is pretty nice. I don't think Leversaurus has any like specific support cards that use energy, so that's a pretty free resource for this to be utilizing. So that's pretty solid. The extra board building effect is very nice because that allows you in combination to get like 4 bodies onto the board for just completely free, which is super good. Then we have Candy Rain Lucille. When it's placed on rear Oh, this is a list duel. Are we already done with the Charmout stuff? No, no. Freedom Duel just has them mixed up together for some reason. Okay. Um, so Holy Ornament for Bera. This is a double rare. On Rear or Guardian, if you have a Lever's Vanguard, it gets shield plus 5k, and then if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, it gets power plus 5k. So 10k shield is pretty alright. But on the drop, you can bind 2 cards with the same name, and choose one of your grade 3 or greater Vanguards with the resource in its name, and it gets power plus 5k. So it's just like an effect. You get 2 of these in the drop, and it's just a resource-free power bump to your Vanguard, which is very nice, very very nice. And being a 10k shield on top of that is pretty good as well. Um, it's not too high value of a card, so I'm not too sure about how good this actually is. But like that, considering what Charmout wants to be doing, that power bump coming from drop for no resource cost, no card advantage cost, like that seems super solid. That seems super super solid. Um, and then why do you have these mixed together? Freedom Duo. And then we have a grade 2 rare. When this is placed on rearguard circle from hand, you can soul charge 1 for every 2 of your units with every source and its name. If you soul charge a total of 2 or more, choose one of your vanguards. During this turn, it gets power plus 5k. So this one's super weird. Because like with the old Charmout, like you did need quite a bit of soul. But with this Charmout, I don't feel like you need that much soul, so having a blind soul charge like this does not feel super good. But it's also like a pretty resource-free power bump. But it's probably not better than like existing options. So I don't think you I think you probably don't play this. Um, because you have to blind soul charge 2 for this, which really really sucks, especially when the deck really does not have shouldn't have that heavy of a soul demand anymore, because it's like you will still have some, I guess, so maybe, but like you don't need to like refill the liver source into soul um every every turn. Now you just need to be able to fuel the soul blast 2 for the back row attack. I don't know, maybe it might be a play depending on like I need to look a bit more. Like I'm like decently familiar with Charmout's general game plan. I'm not super familiar with the soul resources, precisely. Um, so like I guess it would depend on that. I could maybe see it if like this is better than the existing ways of filling your soul in the deck. Um, all right. Charmout stuff, very, very solid. Um, Now let's talk about the Elicial support. So we have a double rare, Lucille. When it's placed on rare and you have Elicial Vanguard, you can Energy Blast 3, look top 5, and add any White Wing or Black Wing from among them uh, with a different card name from this card and add it to your hand. Then Black Wing Continuous. During the battle this unit attacks, all of your opponent's guardians get guard minus shield minus 5,000. Um, that second effect is super strong. Um, like I'm not familiar enough with Alicia's numbers to know if like Alicia is able to put up the numbers that make this kind of effect very threatening. But this is a sort of effect that if this gets put on like a good card, like in a deck that's like able to get that card up to good power numbers, like 33k, for example, like a number that's forcing 2 cards, then becomes 38, 43 on Persona Ride, to probably ask for 3. This sort of effect is super super annoying, because it's going to like because like okay, if you're already having to guard the card with 2 cards, um that effect is going to immediately put it to 3 cards if you're not perfect guarding, um because like both those triggers are going to become 10ks. um so that'll only get you to 33, which against a 33 is just going to be parity. It's not going to be enough to guard. It also makes non-triggers just completely, like anything without shield bonus that's not a trigger, completely worthless to guard with because it will have 0 shield. Um, just a very, very powerful effect. Um, that like I'm not sure Alistral has like the power gain to be able to really benefit from what this effect enables, but it's extremely strong. Um, Then we have a grade 1, with discarded from hand and you have a Celestial Vanguard. You can put a card from your bind zone into drop to bind it, and until the end of your opponent's next turn, both your cards, White Wing and Black Wings, are active. So like, just cheat the system. Like, I'm not sure how. I'm not familiar enough with Celestial's cards to know how much discard stuff it has once you hit grade 3. Um, but this does still enable you to get the early game Blackwing, White Wings both online, which is very, very nice. Um, this kind of effect is like kind of mandatory for this duel to function. So like it's good on that level, but like this duel really needs some really cracked cards to be worth playing. And then White Wing at the end of the ballot boosted, and if you have not counter charge this turn, you retire this unit counter charge 1. Card's a bit weird. That bit's a bit weird because like you want to be discarding this for its first effect, which is obviously way way more valuable because it's kind of like really integral for the deck to function. So like having an on-field effect after that is like kind of weird, kind of strange. Um, and then lastly is a grade 2 rare, Blackwing Continuous. All of your grade 2 in the same column as this unit gets boost and maintenance stuff from the back row. It's nothing. Like, this is nowhere near the sort of powerful card that Elizabeth really needs to be something of relevance. Alright. Let us move on to the Alk stuff. New deck Alk. So this is our new encounter deck, Costume Idol Alk. So, as continuous, during your turn, if your opponent is grade 3 or greater, and you have a card in soul with the same card name as this unit, all of your units in front row get power plus 5k. Then if you have 4 or more damage, they get additional power plus 5k. The gimmick for Alk is going to be getting another copy of Alk, but there is enough support running around here that isn't too difficult. So we're just going to assess these cards based on the assumption that you'll be able to get there, because like it doesn't look like it's going to be difficult at all. Especially because you're going to be using this in Mermaid Ride Line, and Persona Rides are valid targets for the Mermaid Ride Line as well. So you're going to have your Ride Lines as well, Ride Line effects, as well as some other stuff specific to the deck to help you find that Persona Ride copy. And it should be relatively easy to do. It does not seem like something that will be difficult to do at all. So, with that said, at the end of its battle, and if this unit did not enter during the battle phase, you can counterblast 1 and ride a copy of itself, a card with the same name from your hand. At stand, it gets drive -1. So like it's a Youth Burke Raging Form style restander that doesn't inherit the triggers, but still a restander, still very, very powerful effect. And then auto Vanguard once per turn. When this attacks, and if it entered during this battle phase, you get to bounce one of your rears, and then you call a card from your hand onto a rearguard circle. And then at the end of the turn, you get to choose and add up to 1 card with the same name as this unit from soul to hand. So that either guarantees you Persona Ride, despite having to use your Persona Ride copy for your main thing, or it gives you access to doing that line again with the Persona Ride copy that you just add back to hand. Of course, the Carbuncle for Lyrical can also help you get that back into your hand as well. So like there's good tools here. You might have to forgo Persona Ride sometimes. You do have a plus 10k power bump to the front row anyways, so that might be fine. But yeah, that's really solid. There's no opponent's grade 3 restrictions on there, so that's 5 attacks. That's 5 attacks that you can do on your ride up turn going first. That 4 of the 5 attacks will have a plus 5k or plus 10k power bump. Actually, no, you don't get the power bump at all if your opponent's on grade 2. So you won't get the power bump, but that's still 5 attacks when your opponent's on grade 2. with 3 drive checks, that's very threatening. That's very, very strong. The other triple rare is the generic Murtoa, which, as one might expect, is Lyrical's equivalent of the cycle we got in DC6, where it's clan icon support, it's encounter support for the non stride encounters. So if you do not have a card in the G zone, this card gets all the following. When it's discarded during the ride phase, you can reveal a grade 3 with the clan icon from your ride deck. If you revealed a grade 3 or greater with the clan icon, you Freedom Duel has it wrong here. Freedom Duel has a Counter Blast 1 or Energy Blast 3. It is Soul Blast 1 or Energy Blast 3. And draw a card. And then if you have a grade 3 or greater with the clan icon, you can remove from the game 2 copies of this card from your drop to counter charge 1. So it's basically like V Cutlass, which is very strong. Very strong. Wait, no, that's more like D Cutlass, isn't it? No, that's just what they did with D Cutlass, right? Yeah. So this is basically just a clone of the D Cutlass. That only Maelstrom is able to use at current. So that's quite nice, except you can also Soul Blast 1 for the draw effect on discard. Very funny that's just a clone of that. Tying back to their Magellanica roots. um, Very powerful card. Very, very strong for sure. Yeah. There's some pretty solid decks among the encounters in Lyrical. Alk here is like pretty solid stuff. Coral's pretty good as well. Like Stride, effectively Stride power scaling in that deck. Just needs like a 5th attack. Its 4 attacks don't really feel sufficient anymore. But that's something they could easily fix in next week, because next Tuesday they're revealing Coral's support. So we'll have to see how that turns out. And Prism could especially with extra counterblast, because Prism was always very good at using its counterblast to go, okay, I'm gonna dump this all into a bunch of extra power game with like Aesthetic Shot and such. So like getting some counter charge there could be pretty solid as well. This card's just very, very good. Very good. And the encounters that this has to play with, compared to Dancing Cutlass and Soicha, are just way, way better. Now let's talk double rares. Okay, so first we have Query 3, Corone. This is a support card, of course. If it's on Rear or Guardian, if you have a Vanguard with Mermaid in its race, it gets power plus 5k, shield plus 5k. That effect, that's the only splashable effect of it. That's probably not good enough for splashing into other Mermaid decks. And then in drop, if you have a grade 3 or greater Alk Vanguard, and you haven't bound a card with the same card name as this turn, you can bind this card from drop, and you look top 7, reveal and add up to 1 Alk from among them to your hand, and if nothing was revealed, you have to Soul Charge 1. So the mandatory Soul Charge 1 is super annoying, because at some point in the game, you are going to start whiffing on this because your targets aren't very, very many. However, as a like really easy discard fodder and activating from drop, this is a very obviously very strong card. Between this and Murtoa, the deck has a ton of good discard fodders as well, which is super nice. Just very, very good card. Very nice for what the deck wants to be doing. And then there's a second Alk card in here. Where are you? I don't even remember where you are. Here it is. Okay. Yes. Okay, so this is Syria. This is if your Vanguard was placed by card ability this turn, you get power plus 5k. At the end of the battle that this card boosts, and you have Persona Road this turn, you can counter +1, retire this, and choose and add one card with Alk and its card name from soul or drop to hand. Um, so what you can easily do with this card is like you add back the Alk to hand. You don't have a second one. So you go, okay, I'm gonna Persona Ride the Alk. I'm gonna put this behind my Alk. And then I'm going to first swing will be Alk with this boosted. Um, and then end of battle, I will first resolve this card to retire and put the Alk from my soul into my hand. And that Alk swing for 41 because it has the Persona Ride buff. It has the plus 10k buff. It's for itself. And it has the AK boost. So good numbers for sure. Then you use this effect, retire, add Alk back to your hand, and then you go resolve Alk's effect. And you have the Alk in hand now to ride and get your extra attacks. Very, very solid. Super good for like patching up that potential issue with the deck where like you need to, for your Persona Ride turn, you need 2 Persona copies. You need to have seen 2 Persona copies. Very good for that. Super, super good card. It costs Counterblast, but we have that super easy counter charge in Murtoa. Nothing else in the deck really costs Counterblast. Like, this card's super solid. This card's super, super good. Like, really, really perfect for what the deck wants. Being able to get one back from drop as well is super nice as well. Like, just super good all around. Very, very good. Yeah, like as long as you have a copy of this going into your turn, you only ever need the 1 Persona copy, which is super, super good. Super solid. Like, I really do think there's probably like it doesn't seem like it's not like a deck that's like good enough to be like a meta contender. And there's not like a huge amount of card advantage going around here. But like the numbers, it looks to be threatening. The number of attacks it can do going first. And there's a lot of really appealing stuff going on here. So I do think that Alk is probably like a real deck of some sort. All right, that's it for the streams. Let's get into the cards of the day. We have 5 batches to go through. So first, we have Kari's double rare support, Latina. This is if you have a Vanguard with Mermaid, it gets shield plus 5k. And then if you have Vanguard that's grade 3 or greater, it also gets power plus 5k. Very similar to the grade 3 that we saw for Alk. But this is a grade 2, so it's 10k shield instead, which is way, way better. If you're going to run a card like this, you're going to run this one. And then when it attacks or boosts, you can reveal grade 3 Kyrie from your ride deck, or if you have a grade 3 or greater Kyrie Vanguard, you may soul charge one. This card seems super mid. That second effect that you need Kyrie for is like, it's nothing. It's a soul charge. I don't know. Kyrie does appreciate soul charges. Like I was helping one of my friends test Kyrie leading into Springfest this year. And like the Mermaid ride line was super appealing, but an issue we were finding is that there just wasn't quite enough soul to support the Mermaid ride line plus all the soul demands that Kyrie wanted as a deck with like with Strega and Yuika and all that stuff. But random soul charge is weird, but like I think it does line up for like, because like we ended up going with the Ballista line just for the guaranteed Strega proc for the order, and just having like 2 more soul in rotation like did a lot, like just barely got us there. This card could really enable the deck to use the Mermaid line more easily. Without being so stressed on the soul. So I do think there is probably something here. It is a card that reads like kind of underwhelming, but like that bit of extra soul does actually kind of matter for Kyrie. It's probably the difference maker between like being able to comfortably use the Mermaid ride line or not. And the Mermaid ride line is so good. It's so good. Then we have another double rare for Kyrie. With this card from hand, you can put into soul. This is another good way of shoring up those soul issues. And then if you have a When it enters the field and enters Rearguard, and you have a grade 3 or greater Kyrie Vanguard, it gets power plus 5k. And then if it entered by the effect of Kyrie, at the end of the turn, you can return this card back to your hand, so it makes it easier for you to bounce your whole field. Super, super nice. And then lastly, we have a grade 2 rare. When it's placed on rare from hand and you have a grade 3 or greater Kyrie Vanguard, you can energy charge 1. This one isn't worth using at all, but the first two I feel like have legs. Yeah, the first two definitely feel like they have legs. Like Kyrie does have like a slight soul issue that I would like to see resolved, and two pretty solid support cards that help it get a bit of extra soul in rotation is super nice. As well as that this second effect on the grade 1 is also just super, super nice as well. Yeah, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Then we have some junk. So grade 2, when it's placed on rear from hand during main, you can call a card, a normal unit whose grade is less than or equal to your Vanguard from hand onto rear guard, gets power plus 5k. Just a convoluted plus 5k. Winter Bazaar, Torty, grade 1. When your other unit in the same column as this unit intercepts, soul plus 1, move it to Guardian Circle against shield plus 5k. This isn't too bad, but it's not like something that, especially because so many lyrical decks are good at rushing their board, this isn't something that really lines up with what a lot of lyrical decks are doing. And the lyrical decks that aren't like that tend to be like a lot more xenophobic. And thus aren't going to line up with this card either. Then we have okay, this one is actually pretty solid. This is Snow Dome Folklore Illustrated. So this is once per turn, when it attacks a greater or greater unit, you can discard a card from your hand. During this battle, increase this unit's power by the guard value, by the shield value of the card discard for this cost. So you can get plus 15k on this, and like plus 15k power on an attacker is the threshold where it's like, okay, this is better than what you're probably going to be getting in archetype. Plus 15k is a really, really strong threshold to break. So this card seems, I would not be surprised if this was something somewhere. I think its biggest hindrance is the fact that it doesn't work on your ride up turn going first. Won't work until turn 4 or unless you're on your ride up turn going second. But that's very good power gain. That's very, very strong power gain by just discarding a trigger. Super, super solid. The other cards revealed here aren't much to write home about. Oh, actually, I should double check if any of these are trigger words. That's Angel. That's War Beast. This is Mermaid, of course. This is Human. But it's when it's bounced back to hand from rear guard, you can energy balance 2, choose your rears, and for this turn it gets power plus 5k. Not the worst thing in the world, but like as a grade 2, like that's not super worth running. As a grade 1, it might be worth considering, but as a grade 2, it's not worth running. And then another Human, Snoria. When it boosts, you can choose a card that shares the same name as this unit from drop. Returns to the bottom of your deck. If you did, you give this card power plus 5k. Not worth running at all. Very convoluted 13k booster. Then we have 1x1 Festina. Is this correct? Yes. Okay, this is correct. A 1x1 Festina. This is a elf. When it's placed on rear from hand, you can return a normal unit from drop to the bottom of your deck. For this turn, this unit gets power plus 2k. So it's only a 10k booster for doing that. Not super worthwhile. And then this is a shockingly powerful card for a common. So this is Siltine. So this is a grade 3 that on rear, when it attacks a grade 3 or greater, you can counterblast 1 and discard a critical trigger from your hand. For this battle, this unit's critical becomes 2. So in a deck that is able to get this card up to good power numbers on its own, this card seems very nice. Now, like, the sort of deck that this wants to go into feels pretty specific. I think you don't want it to be in a deck that is like, you don't want it to be in a deck where like this is going to you're going to restand this and you're going to be expected to use it twice. That is an option, if it presents itself. That shouldn't like be ignored. But if you're in a deck that has like the ability to get like anything up to good power numbers, this is this can be a very threatening addition to your offensive pressure. Like the big standout right out the gate to me is Charmout. Because you can just boost this with the grade 0 or grade 1, and it just hits stupid numbers while being crit 2. And you can do a thing where like, okay, so your Vanguard has 2 checks. Your back row attack has 2 checks. This wing has a crit on it. So if you hit a single critical trigger on any of your 4 drive checks, you can pass that to the other front row. And now every single swing you do has 2 crit pressure. Which is really, really strong in a deck that's swinging for as large numbers as Charmout was. When I was talking about this in Different Fight Discord, it was brought up that there was a White Wing tech in that Charmout could run before that was able to do some that was used for something fairly similar. But 1, White Wing and Black Wing are now hard locked in this duel. And 2, this is like much easier to set up. Doesn't require you to get an odd card into your grade, into your bind, sorry. So this seems super solid. And there's probably more decks that this can fit into. Like Alk, I can't. It wouldn't be too bad in Alk. In Coral, it'd probably be pretty solid as well because all of the rearguard power in Coral largely comes from the front row buff that Coral is granting. Like anything of that sort, that's like getting its rearguard power through a big front row pump. This card is like suspect for playability and if you have enough free counterblasts to be able to use this. Because you're running 8 critical triggers. It is not going to be hard to have a critical trigger in hand to discard to this. And discarding a 15k shield is a significant ask, but this is a lot of offensive pressure to get out of that, especially when it's coming off like just a generic. Super, super solid card. Definitely the sort of card that if you are tinkering with a lyrical deck, I would keep on your radar. Because this is very strong. This is the sort of card that I imagine we'll see play somewhere. And it's a common. This is why we pay attention to cards of the day. This is why we do it. Most of it is junk, but sometimes a gem like this just shows up. Yeah. And like let's not forget there's the other trigger discarding, the plus 15k, which is like also a pretty good card. But the offensive pressure that this provides is a lot more novel than just getting 15k power. Very, very strong stuff. Very impressed by this card. I'm certain this will show up somewhere. And then our last cards of the day, nothing really of note. We have Crearty. When it's placed on rare, you can discard an order from hand. It gets shield plus 10k. That isn't too bad if you're in like if you're in a deck that has to run a bunch of normal orders and you're fighting on normal orders, like Fennel maybe. Like it could be okay in Fennel, especially with the new Trick or Treat that can be played from drop. You could discard this. Yeah. So this would be a pretty solid 15k shield there. Yeah, I could see it there. Oh yeah, Fennel is another deck that Crit Gainer would be good in. Then and that's a mermaid. Oh, let's double check the race on these. Elf, demon. Yeah, okay. Wolfrika, grade 3. When it's placed on rear from hand, counterblast 1, choose one of your opponent's front row rears and move it to an empty rear guard circle. This is awful. Why are we paying a counterblast for this garbage? And then this is a War Beast, I believe. Grade 2 Carolina. If there are 2 or more cards on your Guardian Circle and you do not have another grade 2, it gets shield plus 5k, so it's just a 10k shield with like a really stringent condition. Not good at all. Not good at all. Alright, that's it. We got through it. The Charmout stuff seems super, super strong. That crit gainer, very powerful. And Myrtola and Alk seem pretty good as well. Pretty impressed by the stream stuff from this week. We're almost done, of course. Next week, Tuesday, we'll be revealing Coral stuff. And then Thursday, we'll be diving into DC12 right away. They are showing off 3 new cards for Stashin. So if there's any doubt that this is a Skyride set through and through, we're getting Stashin reveals right out the gate, including a triple rare. And they're also showing off the Volume 7 manga promo for Youthquake, which is going to be a Dark States card. Dark States in order. A normal order, I believe. Yeah, normal order. Grade 2 normal order. That could actually be a pretty big deal. Because that's like a good like generic order. A grade 2 good generic order is something that Dark States is really, really lacking. And like that could be a potential Orion's enabler. Like Dark States just has no good generic order for enabling Orions. So that could be the Orion's enabler that we've been waiting for forever. Especially if it's like activates from drop, that would be super sick. Okay. That's going to be it for me for today. I will see you guys later. This is Hunter Surge signing off.